straight into it now. Oh, Cameron, thanks for the message. You've got Word document created with a risk matrix to score risk. Perfect. Yeah, I'll definitely be able to show you how we can that's incorporated into the HandsHQ system today as well. So let me just get my screen to the right section. As I said, any questions that you do have throughout, then feel free to let me know, and happy to answer any questions. You've got the chat, which I can see quite a few of you have managed to find already, and then you've also got the Q&A as well. So feel free to put some questions in the Q&A. Irina can answer those as we go through. Equally, if you'd like me to answer them live, then we can take a quick pause and we can answer those throughout as well. A few more people join in. Hi, Ben. We're just about to kick off, so great timing to jump in. And yeah, great comment here from Jonathan. Thanks, Jonathan. So most clients don't understand RAMS. They just want to see something that looks professional. Absolutely. It's all about the sort of quality and the consistency each time of these documents that are being created. So we'll touch upon that as well and show you how you can really create a high quality, consistent documents each time as well. Perfect. So hopefully everyone should be able to see my screen moving up and down. If you can't, then shout as loud as you possibly can. Hopefully we might be able to hear you. But essentially this is HandsHQ. So firstly, yeah, thanks everyone for joining. Today we're going to be running through the HandsHQ system. So HandsHQ is a purpose-built software for the generation and management of risk assessments and method statements. And that would be site-specific risk assessments and method statements as well. So essentially we're working with businesses who realize that actually using Word or using Excel to write their RAMs probably isn't the most efficient way of actually generating documents, especially their RAMS documents. It's just a standard approach and something that's been the same and has remained the same for years and years. You know, probably one of the biggest changes when it came to writing these documents is moving from paper-based to Word, and now it's that sort of next step in that sort of process and innovation, and that's moving to something more digital, which gives you the access to sort of have an oversight of RAMs and different projects all at once, provide better audit trails, and just make the process a lot easier, quicker to be able to sort of create and also manage documents. So what we're going to do, is going to go through the process of how we generate one of these documents. But it's worth noting, so HandsHQ is a web-based and cloud-based system. So it essentially means that when you, connects to the system via the internet. So as long as you've got an internet connection, you can access from pretty much anywhere, from a multitude of different devices too. So desktop, laptop when you're in the office, or if you've got a tablet out on site, you can also sign off and read RAMs on your phone as well. So it gives you that sort of flexibility of being able to access the system and access your RAMs, maybe more so than you have at the moment. When you log into the system, the first page you're going to come to is your projects page. This is a project, is our terminology essentially for RAMs. So all of your different project names that you can see here, client details, reference numbers, when that document was last updated. We can create internal approval processes as well. We can also see here that we've got some different colored tabs here. Anything green means that that's a job which is currently live. Anything yellow means that that's a job with a future start date. And anything gray means that that job has actually now finished. Anything that has finished, expired, that project is finished, you do have the ability to archive those documents and really keep this library as clean as you possibly want it to be. But let's jump straight into the system and actually show you how we generate a site-specific RAMs. So it's a four-step process. To start the process, we hit new project up in the top right here. The first step of our four-step process is to enter in our sort of project details. So you're going to have a bunch of empty boxes and essentially just entering in the information that you need at this point. So project name, reference numbers, client details. Also, it's going to ask you to add in your locations of work as well. So pretty straightforward at this point. Once you've added in that information, you can then hit next. And then you come through to our risk assessment library. Now, essentially, this library is for you to go through and select what is relevant as part of your project. So really what we're asking at this point is for the user, whether that's health and safety or project managers, site managers, for the user to start considering the hazards on site and start to build that risk profile and the risk profile around that project. So in our general category here, let's say if we're to scroll down and the first that we select, which is associated to our project, to our job, is arrival and departure from site. We can select this risk assessment. We can then go into edit. You'll then see all of the associated risk assessments for arrival and departure from site. But this is where we can actually go in and make these site specific. So we can deselect anything that's not applicable to our job. We can leave those selected that are applicable, but then we can just go into edit and actually make those site specific changes here. So if we wanted to say, cross before no potential fatal injuries on Smith Street, we can do so, change the task, update the hazard. You've got your 5x5 risk matrix. You've also got your control measures, which you can update and you can change, and you've got your residual risk as well, which you can change by a project basis as well. You've also got your persons of risk that you can update if needs be. So once we've made that site specific, we can then select update. Once we've updated that, we can move back into the library, and then it's essentially going through that process of just adding more relevant risks that are a part of that library for our project. Now, one thing that's worth bearing in mind is all of the library that you're seeing here at the moment. Everyone gets access to this, regardless of what package you're on. Everyone gets access to all of this content, all of this information. However, for a lot of our larger businesses, where their work may be very bespoke, and information is missing, what we can do is a full onboarding process. And we'd actually take all of your current content, your current risk assessment library, and pull that all into the HandsHQ system for you. So essentially, you would be using all of your current content, all of your risk assessment information, which is applicable to you as a business. So if we're to scroll down, you can see just how many different categories that we already have within the system. We can actually select the category that we need for our work, and then we can actually then go and select the tasks that we're going to be doing on site. So installing lighting, for example. Once again, we can go into edit, see the associated risk assessments, and then add some information and make them site specific to our job as well. So once we've gone through the library, it's then moving on to our next step. Any questions, feel free to throw some questions in, and happy to answer those. So the next step of our process is where we come to our sequence of operations. So this is essentially our safe sequence of work. This is how you would like the team to go about completing the job in the safest possible way. Now, we selected electrical on the previous step. Therefore, it's going to pull through our electrical sort of sequence operations and the tasks that we could be doing. So it's only going to pull through relevant information based on our selections from the previous step. So you're not going to have to go through a huge long list. It's all going to be applicable to our selections already. So we're in the electrical category here. Let's say, right, our job is installing lighting. We can select this, and then this is the sequence that we'd like to use. Once again, you can make this very site specific by jumping in, and you can free text in here. You can deselect any of the sequence that maybe isn't applicable. You've also got the ability to drag and drop the sequence around, move it around. Also add any images as well. This is really handy if there are any form of sort of language barriers on site and you wanted to add images and make more of a pictorial sort of sequence of operations or a pictorial method statement, then you've got the ability to do so in here as well. Great, so then we can move on to our next step. And this is where we come into our final step of the process, which is essentially where we come into this is where we come into the method statement. So our sort of final step of the process, if you like, our main bulk of the method statement. Now, as we go down, you can see a lot of this information has already been pre-populated for us. This is once again being pre-populated based on our selections from the previous step as well. So everything is relevant to our selections that we've made. Also, you know, when you do go through that onboarding process, if you've got your own sort of method statement content, we can put that all into the system for you and link that up with specific sections of the risk assessments library as well. So you've got always got the ability to jump in here and free text at any point, add any information in that you need to. You can also add any images as well. One thing that I like to say to our customers, you don't have to worry about formatting documents. I know especially when you're using Word, Ellie, I know you mentioned that you're using Word for a lot of your method statements. It could be such a pain when you drag and drop an image in and then your text blows up all over the screen, and you've got to spend ages trying to reformat everything again. Very straightforward with HandsHQ. You can literally just drag and drop an image in, or just upload it from your computer. What I like to say to our clients is you never have to worry about formatting a document ever again. You can focus on the important part, which is obviously the content. So as we scroll down off the back of the method statement, you now have the ability to select any hazardous substances that you might be using for your job. And then also you can select your PPE requirements as well, just with the icons. There is also the ability to add a full COSHH assessment, which I can show you how we do that with the library. So once we've done that, we can then go to save and exit. And essentially our RAMS document at that point has been created. Sometimes when you do go back into a document and you make an edit to a document, it's actually going to ask us for a reason as to why we are editing, which is really handy. So if we just said that actually we've gone into this document to, we've added a brand new risk assessment, or we've made an edit, we've made a change. What's really handy about this is all of these changes and all of these updates that you make to a document are all going to live within the activity tab. So you've actually got the ability to see when a document was created, who it was created by, why it was edited, and who it was edited by as well, and the reasons for it, time, date stamps too. So you've got a full audit trail or activity log of that document. You've also got the ability to download old versions of this as well. So yeah, you can always see proof of actually how that document has changed over time. Have we got any questions at all? I don't know if any questions have come through as of yet.
Yeah, there was one question, a really good one from Jonathan. So the question is, can I click on all of the risk assessments that I need for a project? That could be 50 plus risk assessments, and put them into a project folder and then edit them.
Good question, Jonathan. Do you want me to answer that one, Rena?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
That's all right. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So with HandsHQ, when you are going through that library, you've got the ability to select as many as you want. You know, we've got a lot of customers that use it in so many different ways, our system. Some of our customers like to select everything for a big project. They might be on this project for 6 months, and they'll create one RAMS document that's got everything in there. We've got other customers that might want to phase out their project. So phase 1, which you'll have certain risk assessments in there, phase 2, phase 3, and they create 3 different RAMS documents for each. So it's really up to you if what you want to select from that library and how much you want to select, depending on how big and how long you want that document to be. So yeah, great question, Jonathan. But yes, you do have the ability to select everything if you wanted to. Perfect. So what I want to show you now, bit of a Blue Peter moment. This is one I did earlier. So obviously we're in the same sort of spot at the moment. This RAMS document has been completed. We can actually send this document off for which I'll show you now. Actually, I've mentioned about that internal approval. So once we've created that RAMS document, you've got the ability to, it might be a site manager or a project manager, because the beauty of this system is because it's so easy to use, you can actually pass this responsibility on to many of the team that are actually out on site. But obviously, as part of health and safety teams or managers, directors of businesses, you almost sort of want to have that last line of defense to ensure the quality and compliance of that document. So before it gets sent off to your client, we've got this internal approval process. So let's say Joe Bloggs has created this RAMS document out on site for a project. What he can then do is select a member of the team that he would like to send this document to for them to sign off. So let's say it's going to go to myself, for example. So Joe Bloggs can then submit this document. It's been sent to me via email, and it's essentially said, Joe Bloggs has created M&S refit in Moorgate RAMS document. Could you please review the document and essentially approve it or reject it? So you can reject it if you want to, and then it will ask you for the reasons as to why you've rejected it. You can jump in and edit it. So if you wanted to put your own sort of health and safety knowledge into this document, then you can jump in and you can change it and update it if you wanted to. Otherwise, you can say, you know, yes, best RAMS ever, hopefully every time, and then we can just approve that document. So that RAMS document has been approved, and I will show you what that looks like in a moment. So if we just go back into the personnel tab here, so once that document's been created, we're in our personnel tab. What we've actually got the ability to do here is add key personnel that are actually going to be working out on our site. So these are our our laborers, our electricians, our engineers, whoever it may be. We can add those to our project. So we can see here that we've added Alan and myself to the project. We can see what role they are as part of this project. We do also have, which I'll show you towards the end, we do have a webinar on it next week, but our other product, which is our training register, which actually integrates into the RAMS document. So it's actually telling me whether Alan and also myself, whether we've got the right training or not. We can see that Alan is valid for the project, meaning that all of his training is up to date, whereas myself, I'm currently missing training. So you've got the ability there to actually be able to catch these people and ensure that you're not sending people to site that don't have the correct training. But really what I wanted to show you here is obviously that sign-off process from your operatives out on the site. So obviously I know at the moment, often it's 99% of the time, it's a piece of paper that gets sent around to the team who then sign off next to their name. There are a bunch of problems, bunch of challenges with that. First of all, you could lose that bit of paper. Secondly, you also, sometimes if someone's turning up late to work, to site, then one person will end up signing off for a bunch of other people. But as a business and for health and safety, you want to mitigate that risk as much as possible. Ensure that you're doing your due diligence, you're getting the right people sign off on the right document. So we can actually select who's going to that site and send that RAMS document out to them via email. They would open up the RAMS document, read through it, accept or reject, and they can sign off on it. And what we're actually able to do is we can actually ask for signatures from these individuals as well. And it'll also take a picture and actually an image, live image of the individual that signed off on that document. Such a lovely picture there that I took this morning. I look a bit tired actually. But we can actually see when that document signed, what time, and then you've got the signatures next to that as well. So you're always making sure you're getting the right people signing off the right documents. This image and the signature will only be accessible by the sort of main admin of the system. But if there was ever a near miss or an incident and 6-12 months down the line, there was an investigation, you can always jump back into this project and find those signatures and being able to sort of supply the proof that that individual has actually signed off on that RAMS document as well. But now for the bit that I imagine you'll want to see is actually what does the document look like? So we've gone through this process of generating the RAMS, approving it internally, getting it signed off. But now let's actually have a look what that final document looks like as well. Just seen a quick question that has come through. We use Samsung Active Pads on site. Is the software pad friendly? Yep, great question. Arena, thanks for replying to that. Just in case anyone else has got that same question, because it's a web-based platform, you don't have to download an application. So as long as you've got internet connection, you can access it, whether that be desktop, your iPad, any type of tablet as well. Perfect. So let's have a quick look through the actual document, final document that's created. Obviously, you can add your own title page and have your own logos. Business information will get pulled through onto the document as well. The revision number does actually update itself as and when you make changes to the document as well. So that's not something that you're going to have to sort of manually always ensure that you're adding each time. And then we come on to our sort of sequence operations and a bit of a breakdown of our project, and then onto our main sort of bulk of the method statement. You can see that we've actually can add those images. We can change the size of our images, make them smaller, make them bigger, to however you sort of want to format this document as well. So when we come off the back of our method statement, we then come to our risk assessment. So we have our 5x5 grid explained for us. And then as we move down, you can see how our risk assessments are laid out. Really quite easy to read, and they flow really quite easily as well. I've had the pleasure, I don't know if that's the right word, of seeing hundreds of different risk assessments, probably even thousands now, from so many different businesses. One thing that I see in common is just how much text there is on one page, which can often be so confusing, especially if it's your first day on site and you pick up this huge, really thick document that has got so much text in it. So what we have with our formatting, it's just that they flow really nicely, really easy to read and sort of understand. So obviously, you've got your task, your hazards, risk rating, control measures, and your residual risk as well. So any updates that we would have made as part of that sort of making them site specific, those updates would get pulled through here as well. So as we shoot off the back of the risk assessment, we then come to our supervision personnel. So this is all of the names of the individuals that are going to be out on that site. We can see that Alan's actually got Alan's signature there as well. And then bolted onto the back of this, you can also add a COSHH assessment as well via our COSHH library, which I'll touch upon in 2 moments as well. So you've got the COSHH assessment. You can decide whether you want to add the SDS sheet onto the back of a document as well. It's completely up to you. We have some of our customers see it as a necessity. Others see it as padding to the document and not really needed, because obviously the COSHH is very specific to the actual use case for on-site. But yeah, just to touch upon a COSHH assessment. So we have a library of, I think, over now probably 10,500 substances. And it's a case of searching for the right substance on the library. Well, you select the substance and then you'll go through a few questions which ask you about the specific use on that site. So your frequency of exposure, where it's going to be used, how much you're going to be kept on site, and then it'll actually build for you this final document that you can see here, which just bolts onto the back of your document. So everything is all together rather than having your risk assessment in one place, method statement somewhere else, COSHH assessment somewhere else. Everything's all being pulled into one document for you as well. So that's pretty much the risk assessment and method statement process as a quick run through. Feel free to throw any questions in just as we show the sort of last few final bits. It's probably worth mentioning as well, obviously, once we've done all the internal sign off, you still want to be able to distribute this document out to your clients as well. So you do have the ability to download it. If you wanted it as a PDF document on your own servers, then of course you can do that. You also do have the ability to actually email this straight out from HandsHQ to your clients as well. So all you need to do is add your client's email address. You've got your subject. You can choose what documents you want to send. Obviously, we want to send our RAMs. We've also got the ability to send a training report as well. The training report is once again linked to the training register, which I'll just briefly show you in a second. But as I said, we'll go into that more so next week. If you wanted to join, I'll tell you how we can do that shortly. And then add your body of email, and then just send this email straight out to your customers, to your clients that you're actually going to be doing the job for. They've then got the ability to just download that as a PDF document. It's also going to work a little bit like WhatsApp, so you can see when it's been received by someone, and then it's going to give you the 2 ticks when it's been opened and read by them as well. So you've always got proof to show that that individual's actually received your documents as well. Any questions from anyone at all?
Yeah, Mason, there's a question from Cameron. So the question goes, is there an area on the risk assessment that remedial actions required to reduce residual risk?
Yeah, good question. So at the moment, and I have seen examples of this, where you've got your sort of your hazards, your control measures, and then your control measures after your control measures. We do only have the 2 boxes, just purely because that's what the majority of our customers and the people that we speak with want. They don't want an extra box for additional control measures. They want to have all of their control measures in obviously that 1 box. But yeah, you can always add more control measures within that same field as well. So you can have a long list if you wanted to, or break them down into multiple different risk assessments for a certain task. Hopefully that's answered your questions. If not, happy to give you a call, Cameron, and answer your question, or give you a bit more of a sort of in-depth demo as to how we can sort of meet your requirements in that aspect. Great. Yeah, any more questions, feel free to throw those in just as we do wrap up. One last thing that I wanted to show is obviously the training register that we have. So obviously we've been around, HandsHQ have been around for sort of 8 years, I think now. For 6.5 of those years, we've solely focused on the risk assessment and method statement aspect of HandsHQ. About 1.5 years ago, we had a lot of our customers crying out for us to sort of digitalize and streamline their risk matrix. So big Excel spreadsheets, which is always a headache. So we've come up with the training register. This can be used as a standalone product, also integrates with the RAMS side of the system as well. We will be running another webinar next week at the same time. So feel free to join that. on that webinar, we're actually going to be looking into this in a lot more detail. So how it works as a standalone product, but also how it links in and integrates with the RAMS and what benefits that would bring you as a standalone, but also a bolt-on product to RAMS as well. So yeah, feel free to join that. It'd be great to show you around the system and show exactly how that works as well. Appreciate we are pretty much bang on time at 12:30. Any further questions, feel free to throw those at us now. I will pop everyone a call that's joined today at some point, hopefully today. I'll be able to get through to you today, either straight after this or early afternoon, to answer any questions that you might have. And if it is something that is of interest, you want to have a bit more of an in-depth look at the system, then maybe if you just let us know now, and then I can make sure I give you a call as soon as possible to essentially book some time in and talk you through the system in a little bit more detail and actually how it would work for you as a business specifically as well. But yeah, any last questions, feel free to throw them our way. Otherwise, yeah, as I said, happy to answer those over the next coming few days. But otherwise, thanks very much, everyone. I really appreciate everyone jumping on today. I appreciate Wednesday mornings are always busy, smack bang in the middle of the week. And I hope you're all not as nervous as I am for the football later. Hopefully it's coming home. But yeah, thanks very much, everyone. And hopefully see you next week as well.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.
See you later.